I, Anuda Gunaratne of Royal College, would like to recite an adventurous historical story about a beautiful island during this presentation. The story began in an island country in South Asia called Sri Lanka, which was formerly known as Ceylon by British, Taprobane or Serendip. It was also called Pearl of the Indian Ocean, Teardrop of India, and the Granary of East due to its breathtaking beautiful landscape. This island lies in the Indian Ocean, southwest of Bay of Bengal and southeast of the Arabian Sea, and is separated from the Indian subcontinent by the Gulf of Mannar and Pork Strait. Sri Lanka shares a maritime border with India and Maldives. Sri Lanka's geographical location and deep harbors have made it a great strategic importance from the earliest days of the ancient Silk Road trade route to the today's so-called Maritime Silk Road. The island was and is a major trading hub to both the Easterners and the Europeans. Long ago, about 125,000 years or even more, spanning the Paleolithic, Mesothelic, and even Iron Ages, this island was inhabited by men. Among the Paleolithic human settlements in caves discovered in Sri Lanka, Pahiyangala, Batadambalena, and Belilena are the most important. In these caves, archaeologists have found the remainings of anatomically modern humans, which they name Balangoda man, dates to about 125,000 years ago. They were known as Mesolithic hunters, the hunters-gatherers who obtained most or all food by gathering edible world plants or by hunting and fishing. Several minute granite tools, earthenware remnants of charcoal, timber, and clay burial pots date to the Mesothelic era were also found in these caves. Balangoda man probably created horn plains in the central hills by burning trees in order to catch game. The discovery of oats, barley, and the plains dating more than 15,000 BC suggests that they may have engaged in agriculture and would have kept dogs. During the Protohistoric period, 1000 to 500 years BC, Sri Lanka was culture united with South India and shared the same megathelic burials, pottery, iron technology, farming techniques, and megalithic graffiti. According to Mahavansha, the originated inhabitants of this island are said to be Yaksha, Naga, Raksha, and Deva. Early history recorded in Buddhist scripture refers to 3 visits by Lord Buddha to this island to see the Naga at Mahayangane, Nagadeepa, and to Kalani, and also said that on the 3rd visit, Lord Buddha left his footmark on Sripada. Ancient cemeteries used before 600 BC were also discovered in the island. The earliest inhabitants include the ancestors of Vadda people, an indigenous people numbering 2,500 living in present Uva, central, northwestern provinces. The island's documented history traditionally starts in 543 BC from the arrival of King Vijay, who sent that 700 followers into the island after being expelled from Vanga kingdom, present-day Bengal. He established the kingdom of Tampanni near modern-day Mannar. Vijay is the first of approximately 189 rulers of Sri Lanka. As the story goes on, Anuradhapura period began with the establishment of Anuradhapura kingdom in 380 BC. During the reign of Pandukabhaya and several others as the capital city for another 1,400 years. The kingdom was mostly based on agriculture, and ancient Sri Lankans excelled in building irrigation works like tanks, large reservoirs, and canals, ensuring continuous water supply to the dry zone and helping the country to grow mostly self-sufficient Dramatic transformation occurred to life in society during the reign of King Devanampiya Tissa with the arrival of Buddhism from India in 250 BC. Mahinda Bhikkhu, the son of Mauryan Emperor Ashoka, arrived to Mihintale carrying the message of Buddhism, and the monarch who embraced the faith of Buddhism influenced the culture, laws, methods of governance throughout the country, and eventually the king supported the propagation of Buddhism to other countries. The sacred tooth relic was brought to Sri Lanka in 302 AD during the reign of King Kitsiri by Princess Hemamala and Prince Danta. Large constructions such as large stupas like Ruanvelipaya Mahasaya and Lower Mahapahaya indicate advanced technical engineering skills of the people at that time. Sigiriya, the so-called the fortress in the sky, built during the reign of King Kashyapa I, who ruled between 477 to 495 AD, is a rock fortress surrounded by an extensive nature of ramparts and moats. Inside the protective enclosure were gardens, ponds, pavilions, palaces, other structures with famous paintings. During Anuradhapura era, Sri Lanka experienced a few foreign invasions by neighboring South Indian dynasties like Chola, Pandya, Kerala, and Pallava, as well as Kingdom of Kalinga, modern-day Odisha, and Malay Peninsula. Dutugamunu, Walagamba, Dhatusena were the kings noted for defeating them and unifying the country. Rajendra I launched a large invasion in 117, capturing Mahinda V, and the Cholas sacked the city of Anuradhapura, causing the fall of the Anuradhapura kingdom. Subsequently, they moved the capital city to Polonnaruwa. Following a 17-year-long campaign, Vijaybahu I successfully drove the Chola out of the country in 117, reuniting the country. Upon his request, ordained monks were sent from Burma to reestablish Buddhism. Irrigation system was extensively expanded during the reign of Parakram Bahu the Great, building 1,470 reservoirs, repaired 165 dams, 3,910 canals, 163 major reservoirs, 2,376 minor reservoirs, not forgetting the most famous construction, Parakrama Samudra. After his demise, Sri Lanka gradually decayed, and in 1215, Kalinga Maga invaded and captured the kingdom of Polonnaruwa. He looted, ransacked, and destroyed everything in Anuradhapura and Polonnaruwa and the native and migrated to south and west of Sri Lanka to the mountains interior to escape his power. Sri Lanka never really recovered from this impact of Kalinga Maga's invasion. King Vijaybahu III brought the kingdom to Dambadeni. Next 3 centuries were marked by shifting of capitals to south and central Sri Lanka, including Dambadeni, Yapahua, Gampula, Raigam, Kotte, Sitawak, and finally Kandy. The early modern period of Sri Lanka began with the arrival of the Portuguese soldiers, explorer Lourenço de Almeida in 1505. Portuguese built a fort at the city of Colombo and gradually expanded their control over the coastal areas. In 1952, after decades of warfare with the Portuguese, Vimala Dharmasuriya I moved his kingdom to Indian city of Kandy, a location he thought more secure from attack. In 1595, he brought the sacred tooth relic, the traditional symbol of royalty and religious authority among Sinhalese, to Kandy and built the Temple of the Truth. In spite of the ongoing intermittent warfare with the Europeans, the kingdom survived till the invasion by the British. During the reign of Rajasingha II, Dutch explorers arrived king signed a treaty in 1638 with the Dutch East India Company to get rid of the Portuguese who ruled most of the coastal areas. Following the Dutch-Portuguese War, the result Dutch victory, they remained in the areas they captured, therefore violating the treaty they had signed in 1638. The Burgher people emerged as a result of the intermingling between the Dutch and the native Sri Lankans. The Nayakara kings, starting from Sri Vijaya Rajasinghe, launched several attacks on the Dutch but proved to be unsuccessful. During the Napoleonic War, fearing that French control of Netherlands might deliver Sri Lanka to France, Great British accompanied the coastal areas of the island with little difficulty in 1796. The entire coastal area was under British East India Company. Sri Vikramarajasinghe faced the first British invasion in 1803 and successfully retaliated. But during the Second Kandyan War in 1815, Kandy was occupied by British, ending the Sri Lanka's independence, an independence which had continued without any interruption for 2,357 years. Sri Vikramarajasinghe's last native monarch was exiled to India. The Kandyan Convention formally ceded the entire country to British Empire under King George III until 1820. But the British colony was compelled to reckon with unending peasant uprising beginning at Uvavellasa under Kappatipola and Madugalla Nilami. The beginning of the modern period of Sri Lanka is marked by the Colebrook-Cameron reforms of 1833. By this time, experiments with coffee plantations were largely successful. Falling coffee prices in 1847 prompted the governor to introduce a series of taxes. Gongalegoda Banda led the protest rally against taxation by the British in Kandy, defeating to the 1848 rebellion. First adhesive stamp was issued in 1857. Railway service began in 1864 with the construction of main line from Colombo to Ambepussa. Large-scale rubber plantations began in the early 20th century. Scouting and aviation was introduced in 1912. National heroes including Sir Ponnambalam Ramanathan, Siddhi Lebbe, Anagarika Dharmapara, Sir Henry Steele Olcott, etc. led a peaceful struggle that resulted in the island receiving her independence in 1948. On the 4th of February 1948, Ceylon was granted independence as the Dominion of Ceylon. Dominion status within the British Commonwealth was retained on the 22nd of May 1972 till it became the Republic of Sri Lanka. After the colonial period of about 100 years, D.S. Senanayake became the first Prime Minister of the independent Ceylon, following Dudley Senanayake, Sir John Kothalavala, S.W.R.D. Bandaranaike, and Mrs. Sirimawa Bandaranaike, the first Lady Prime Minister in the world. 22nd May 1972, Sri Lanka achieved status of Republic of Sri Lanka, continued its journey, having under government of Mrs. Sirimawa Bandaranaike. His Excellency J.R. Jayawardena was the first executive president following
Mr.
H.R. Premadasa, Mrs. Chandrika Bandaranaike, Mr. Mahinda Rajapaksa, Mr. Maithripala Sirisena, Mr. Gotabaya Rajapaksa, and now Mr. Ranil Wickremesinghe. Now, in 1996, Sri Lanka won the Cricket World Cup. 2004 tsunami struck waste areas in the east southern coastal areas of Sri Lanka, and in 2020, the COVID pandemic caused a major setback in the country's economy development, as well as having citizens there lost their lives, many, and their regular day-to-day basis harmed through this process. Even though we as Sri Lankans, together we are united and looking forward to develop our motherland to prosperity in the near future. And now we've come to the end of the story. Every beginning has an end, and every end is a new beginning. Thank you.